Hey, what's up, plant-based runners? Coach Kyle here, and today on You Ask, I Answer, I'm going to go over a few struggles that you guys have submitted to me, and if you have any suggestions or experiences on these, please add your 2 cents in the comments. If you have any questions you want me to make a topic on or touch base on, send me the question via DM, and I will do that. The first one says stamina when running. What? Oh, this is a this is a number of questions. Okay, let's start with the first one. Stamina when running. When when somebody says they're lacking stamina or endurance, when somebody says they run out of energy, when they hit the wall, when they bonk during training runs or races, almost every time, 100% of the time, if you would have slowed down, if you would dial it back, you probably would have not hit the wall during your marathon. You probably would be able to run farther, faster, not faster, farther, feel better. And whenever I have a new client, I always have the easy run discussion because too many runners, they run moderately hard too often. And, sometimes I feel like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. People think running should be hard, so they make it hard. When in fact, I'm going to go jog. I'm going to go for a jog here straight away after this. And it's going to be like super easy. With my clients, I often use the term jog. And with myself, with a run that's very easy, I use the term jog. And that's almost to emphasize the easiness of the run. Especially for new runners where the distance is kind of the hindrance, not the speed. Like with me, I'm shooting for a 2:59 marathon. But if somebody is just training to run a marathon, almost all of their running, especially new runners, is going to be easy, easy conversational pace. Sometimes, very often, I run with my mouth closed, just nasal breathing, and that again, I've had clients who I've got onto that nasal breathing train, and they're amazed by suddenly they can run farther, more frequently, more volume, more consistently, and feel better because they're slowing down. And sometimes I'll use heart rate. I'll set a heart rate like limit, and I'll have them plug that into their GPS, and if their heart rate hits 150, they gotta dial it back a little bit. So yeah, and stamina, almost always slow down. Little things, you could fuel better, train better, do strength work, etc. But none of that is going to fix going out for the first mile, the first 3 miles too fast in a longer run or a race. Pacing is number one. So, next up, what to eat pre and post run. I want to learn more about nutrition. So, with that, good question. In general, for most people, for most runs, it really doesn't matter the details on like what to eat before a run and after a run, but the whole overall, the global view of your diet, it matters more, and it's getting enough calories from whole plant-based food sources. If you're getting 2,000, 3,000 calories daily, and 90% of those calories are coming from whole food, plant-based, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, etc. You're doing great. That's awesome. If you're running a lot, and that's a lot for you, could be 30 miles a week, could be 60. And if you're doing long runs or workouts, then it matters a little bit. You don't want to be too full for a run, but doing a tempo run or a long run with a little bit of something in your stomach is good. I like to recommend having some sort of fuel either before and maybe during workouts and long runs. And so when it comes to that, it's a lot of personal preference, experimenting, seeing what you like, what you don't like. But with me, if I'm gonna do a morning tempo run or a track workout, which I never do those on the track, but I would probably have like a piece of Dave's Killer Bread with, I don't know, a thin layer of like nut butter on it, or maybe two pieces, or a bagel, or half a bagel with some vegan cream cheese, or maybe a little bit of peanut butter on it, or just like a banana, 100 calories, easy, good to go, and coffee, of course, and then so experiment, but 1 to 200 calories of something. Usually for me it's some grain based. Before almost any distance race, I'm going to do a bagel with some vegan cream cheese, and part of the reason I like that is because I can prepare it the day before, wrap it up in a reusable baggie, and then I'm good to go. I don't have to do anything with it. I can just open it up, start chomping on it, an hour before the race starts or whatever. And then, what do they say? They say after a run, again, it's not that big of a deal for most runs. If it's an easy 30 or 60 minutes, if you ate breakfast beforehand, or maybe it's an evening run and you're doing it after dinner, or you're doing it after lunch, you've got some food circulating in your body, it's doing its thing. But if it's like morning, you have a light breakfast, you do a tempo run or a long run, and you get home, typically what I do is I go straight to the fridge and I get a pint glass and I fill it with some protein milk. So Silk has a chocolate soy milk that has 9 grams of protein per cup. So that's 18 grams of protein in a pint glass. Or they have the almond, it's the protein milk, it's almond and cashew milk with added pea protein, and that has 10 grams of protein per cup, which is fantastic. So I'll get that, get my pint glass with one of those two options almost every time, and I'll get started on 10 to 20 minutes of strength work straight away after the run. And then I'll probably jump in the shower, and then I'll have a meal. So that's usually what my pre-workout and post-workout food calories kind of look like. During a run, during training runs, during long runs, I might just use some random gels if I have some, but I'm gifted stuff all the time. But I'm a big fan of maple syrup. You have a little flask about just this big. You can get them, they hold 200 to 400 calories of maple syrup, depending on the size. And, I'm not that way. It's cheaper per 100 calories than gels. It tastes good. It goes down really easily. It's pretty liquidy, more liquidy than most goos and gels. It's not using single-use plastic containers, which I hate. So that's my go-to intro run fuel. It's maple syrup. Let's see, what else do we have? Struggling removing cow's milk yogurt, but have a plan to shift to soy milk yogurt once I have the process down to make it myself. So you have those little yogurt things. We buy 1 to 2 of those a week. I don't like using the plastic containers. I hate that. But I think eventually we're going to start making our own. So this is actually one that I don't have a lot of experience on. I have some yogurt recipes. Breakfast banana splits are amazing, but I would like to kind of move away from using that little cup, using 1 to 2 of those a week. And I've looked into getting the vegan yogurt culture, I think it's called. If anybody watching this has done this, please give us your experiences or tips. It's something I've actually been looking into, so I would like to learn more about that myself. Oh, let's see, what else? Sugar is vegan. Yeah. So with sugar, my favorite tip is to we try to not buy, we do our best to not buy things at the grocery store that have sugar, high fructose corn syrup, etc. in the first three ingredients on the list, because they're listed based on how much of something is in it. So with ketchup, if high fructose corn syrup is number 2 on the list, I'm not going to buy it. And so typically what I find is, and there's almost always an alternative. It's probably 2 to 3 times more expensive, but I find that the more expensive stuff, it's nicer, so it's healthier for you. I like that it comes almost always. It comes from a smaller brand. I'm assuming, it's because at the grocery store there are tons of small companies that have these, good ketchups and mustards and stuff. So I'm kind of supporting a smaller company rather than like Heinz or whatever. Like the Kellogg probably makes a ton of ketchup, or they're the big umbrella companies. So I like that I'm buying a healthier option. I'm supporting a smaller, more potentially kind of semi-local business. Local where it's a small company to the world, local to the world, and it tastes better. And I know that it's more like if I'm having this barbecue sauce that costs $4 for the bottle instead of $1.50, I'm gonna use less of it, so I'm not gonna eat as much of it, and it probably tastes better. And I value it more. I like appreciate it actually a little more because I'm eating. It's like craft beer. I'm a big fan of craft beer. I don't drink a lot in the house, but I love going to a brewery once or twice a week, and I feel like anyway, I kind of appreciate it more, and it tastes better because I know, oh, it's coming from these guys, this brewery, and it even just the knowledge of this kind of makes it taste better. And like I said, I appreciate the quality and the product a little more because I know that it's more of it's a smaller company. It's not so mass produced. So I think that's all the rambling I'm going to do for today. I hope it was helpful. These are kind of fun to do because I get to chat. And if you have any questions you want me to make a video on, please send me a DM. And if you have any experiences with these vegan yogurt, please comment below. And as always, you keep running, I'll keep coaching.